Meh, that's enough. Let's get on with the video. For me, it sure has been a while since I sat down and made one of these videos. For the last 2 years or so of playing Archeage, most of my fun actually didn't come from the game. It actually came from creating videos and guides to help those who still did. It is a bit funny now that I look back on it and see the game for what it was and what it still is. You know, I've been a gamer all my life, starting with the Atari 2600, and then I became an online gamer when I got my first computer back in 1997. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how one chooses to look at it, I have an addictive personality. And what I mean here is that I am prone to being addicted. I don't mean that people just go out of their way to be around me because I'm just so damn interesting. No, what I mean is I just like a lot of whatever gets my attention, and I usually indulge in it to my own detriment. So along comes games like Archeage, which has filled that addictive personality trait quite well, and even has taken the place of some of the more destructive type addictions like drugs and alcohol. Having played these types of games since inception, I've also met quite a few good people just like me. What I mean is those prone to addiction and needing something less destructive to focus on, and for a long time, online games did just that. I am corporate greed. Submit to me. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm just trying to have fun instead of ruining my own life with drugs and alcohol. Well, most of us just toil around our everyday lives, fighting to make ends meet, and have a little fun on the way. Keep our heads above water, you know, that kind of stuff. Then comes the evil part of capitalism and drops a corporate greed-sized turd in our sandbox. The way the corporations are structured is they don't care how much money they have made, they only care about how much money they can make. In other words, it doesn't really matter how successful they were last quarter, only how much more successful they will be in the next. Most industries were like this from the very inception, but the online gaming market was an outlier, and it was originally started by gamers who wanted to create a more interesting world to play in, not the greedy shitbox that it has turned into today. So I think back to the story of Henry Ford when he had the idea to produce or mass produce the automobile, and his banker friend came up to him and said, "You, sir, have a problem. Your vehicles do not break down enough. If you want my investment, you'll engineer your vehicle to require more maintenance." You don't believe me? Look it up. How about Benjamin Franklin and the first light bulbs that he ever made? Did you know that those light bulbs are still working to this very day? And that light bulb that's hanging in a California firehouse has only been turned off for a week in over 109 years. Let that sink in. Then you have the story of Nikola Tesla, who built the Wardenclyffe Tower, which was going to be a launching point for energy, free energy, worldwide. But his funding was pulled when J.P. Morgan realized he couldn't put a meter on it. Now that's a fact. So why am I giving you history lessons in a video about Archeage and the gaming industry? Because the exact same crap the corporate bankers have been pulling in life has trickled down into these online games. For those of you who aren't old enough or been around since the inception of MMORPGs, you have purposely been led to believe that the games, the way they are today, is the way they've always been. That, my friend, is a big, fat, juicy lie. No, they were not. When the first 3 MMORPGs came out, many of the things that you are now grinding your ass off for a ridiculous amount of time, or you're swiping your credit cards or your parents' credit cards to get, were simply just part of the game. Player housing, player decoration, backpack slots, inventory slots, name changes, gender changes, server transfers, hairstyles, new outfits, new mounts, fast travel. This stuff was all just part of the game. You didn't need to buy credits or gambling boxes to get them. At the most, you had to do a quest or a quest line or a dungeon crawl to obtain them. Simply put, they were simply part of the game. The challenge or the fun of actually obtaining them was what the game was all about. What has happened in our online games is they have systematically decimated what you get with your initial purchase in order to sell it back to you. This is just like the government telling you it's illegal to fish, it's illegal to hunt, it's illegal to drive, or in some cases it's even illegal to collect rainwater without having the appropriate permit or license, which in turn, if you want to do it, will happily sell you one. This is just like buying credits in these online games. You buy credits so you can raise your housing decor limit or increase your backpack or warehouse slots. They purposely take that out to limit you, so you in turn have to come and spend money to get it back or get it unlimited. Well, less limited. Pretty ridiculous, right? If you really take an honest look at how the evolution of online games is going, you'll see what they're doing is they're pushing that line of acceptable monetization further and further. And just in case they happen to go too far, like EA Sports did with Star Wars Battlefront, then they issue an insincere apology and then just pull back a little bit. When online games started, there was hundreds of thousands of people who jumped on board. And then all of a sudden, corporations screamed, "Our bandwidth! We must charge a monthly fee." And we accepted it. Next, they pushed out expansions. More of the same, but parts of what we didn't already have. That'd be another $40, please. And we accepted it. Next, they pushed the line out further with collector's editions. That will be another $150, please. We accepted it. Then, silver, gold, platinum, ultimate edition, and what other adjective you want to throw in, and we accepted it. Name change services, server transfers, race changes, we have accepted it all. And it goes on and on until we finally arrive at the games we have like Archeage. Nothing is sacred, everything is for sale. As long as it's the corporation who is making the profit. And now, even the process of buying something has been tainted. You want a new mount? You want a new costume? A new glider in Archeage? Well, you better have upwards of 6 months worth of loyalty coins saved up, or be prepared to swipe that credit card and gamble your way to obtain it. And I know what some of you are going to say. But Aaron, dude, you could just buy it on the auction house with gold, or you could buy Apex in game and try to get it that way. To that I say, you are missing the point. The point is that mount, that costume, that glider is coming from the cash shop, period. If it isn't you spending the money, it is somebody else. Apex isn't free. You cannot earn Apex in-game, and if somebody does choose to spend their loyalty to buy that themselves, which, by the way, you cannot possibly earn enough loyalty to buy everything that comes out anyway, but if they do, then they have purposely made those ones that you get from loyalty untradeable. Therefore, every single costume, mount, glider, or whatever the heck that is sold on the auction house, that means somebody somewhere has spent real-life money to put it up. I know it sure does feel like I'm piling on Archeage right now, and yeah, I am, but Archeage actually only exists in a shitty world of our own acceptance. So unlike AAA studios where investors, shareholders, and bankers are breathing down the necks of our corporate overlords to make more money, Archeage is run by XL, which is supposedly a privately owned company. But even those privately owned companies have venture capitalists to answer to. And when those companies are playing in the field of companies like Sony, EA Games, Konami, NCSoft, Square Enix, Take-Two, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Nintendo, and so on, they either roll up their sleeves and get elbow deep in asshole, or they get run over. Or said a little bit more delicately, they are bought out and dismantled. Yeah. It is a real shitty reality for me, so those of you who have been following me way back in my heyday on Twitch and YouTube, you'll know that I've said I will not play another game or even download another game that doesn't have anything but a purely cosmetic cash up. What you don't know is why. Why do these type of games bother me so much? Well, that is what this video is about. I am not telling you to stop playing whatever game you're playing, nor am I saying do not spend money on them. That is your choice. What I am trying to do is shed some truth on the subject as to why the games are so greedy and give you a historical reference so you can see how the games are designed to screw you. When you have CEOs like Bobby Kotick of Activision Blizzard, who, by the way, alone is worth $7 billion, he just chose to lay off 800 employees despite the fact the company is reporting record levels of profit. You know something just isn't right. This is a man whose great-grandchildren's children would never have to work a day in their life. Yet he still swaggers into office to fire people in one of the company's most profitable quarters ever. What the literal fuck, man? These were developers on the front lines working long, tedious hours. These were quality control agents checking and rechecking the same boring-ass content for bugs. The customer service reps who are dealing with upset customers who just wanted to lash out because they don't know who to blame. Whilst this jackhole hides in the back corner getting all this adulation for all this money that he's making. Here's a reality check, asshole. Nobody is successful alone. Those people that you fired are part of the reason you are where you are today. But to you and your righteous selfishness, you don't give a rat's ass. I will let Jim Sterling finish that statement for me. Go, Jim.
Fire! Bobby Kotick.
Alright, so I need to wrap this up, but I don't want you all to think this is all doom and gloom and it's gonna end badly. No, what's going on is the shit we're seeing in the gaming industry is only a symptom of the world at large. The times, oh, they are a-changing. And the industry is actually going to change too, mark my words. You have the breakout success of games like Fortnite, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and in years past, League of Legends and Dota 2, proving you don't have to take shit away from players to sell it back to them. You can actually make a game that is fun and rewarding and do it for free with no monthly fee and offer extras if the players enjoy your game enough. You know what? They're going to spend money. These games and their monetization methods fly in the face of everything the industry as a whole has been trying to do, and in my opinion, that is a good thing. Now, it's just not the gaming industry. The world is changing as a whole. Corruption is being rooted out at this very moment, whether you realize it or not, because the mainstream media is not going to report it. The gaming industry, and all industries for that matter, will have to adapt and change. Those that do will be left standing. Those that don't will actually be squashed by the very system they helped create. Karma's a bitch. Well, I think that's all I got to say on this subject for now. I want to thank my only Patreon left, who probably just forgot to unsub since I really haven't been doing anything. But thank you, Umukano and all. 16 months, man. 16 months. Thank you very much, my friend. I'd also like to say thank you to everybody hanging around and watching this video. I've made a lot of friends over the years in Archeage and here on YouTube even, and if nothing else, that is a blessing. So I'd like to ask all of you, if you like this type of video, please simply share it on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, wherever you live, man, share it. Even if you only have 2 followers, it doesn't matter. I know how this shit works. Every link will be found, and that will help the channel grow. I have a fair bit more to say on subjects just like this, and only with your interest will I make the transition from Archeage to gaming in general, so please share, like, subscribe, and I'll keep it coming. A final note, I want to say thank you to Jim Sterling's son, who has been saying what I've been thinking for as long as I can remember. You, sir, are a truth bringer, and thank God for you. That's it for now. Take care, all my Archeage and gamer friends. Be well.